rivals, welcome to Bax Attacks. I am very excited about the new update and some of the way that they have changed the spells. I'm particularly excited about how Jal is a lot more usable, a lot more friendly. So I'm here at Stronghold 12. We're going to take some arena attacks. There's been a lot of confusion about how the spell casting has changed and how it can be, some people think it's bad. I just want to say it is a good thing. It helps us not waste mana, and it helps us to do much better when using Jal. So we'll dive into some gameplay here. Here's a base where the spell towers are a major threat. There's a double conduit, you got an insanity tower, a freeze and flame. So we're going to switch to Jal. His first spell in particular shuts down the flame tower for 15 seconds. So we're going to look at that. The problem with it before is that you cannot effectively recast it, and once the spell wore off, it was going to get a shot no matter what you did. And so that really limited the viability. In a lot of cases, it was just unreliable. With the change in the spell casting, if a defensive building is on a timer with the spell, you cannot recast the spell on that same building until the timer has run out. And the purpose of that is just to avoid you from losing or wasting mana. Alright, so let's take a close look here. We're going to put down two of Jal's first spell, the Scorched Heat, on those two spell towers, the purple one and the freeze one. Really, we got to look out for the insanity one. Alright, when we get 15, we're going to drop that third spell. Boom! It immediately destroys any spell towers. Unfortunately, the insanity tower did get one shot off, but we now have both of those under lockdown. Not a lot of troops left because of that one shot, unfortunately. But we should still have the dragon there. We can use that second spell. It also does some damage. The first spell, sorry, it does some damage, and so it was able to knock out that tower. The troops are still going around. The dragon is knocking out some of the defenses. There's no anti-air on that side, so it's going to be able to take that out. So if we can get those into the middle, we're going to be able to recover this one. Alright, so at this point, the no more spell towers, the Oasis spell, the second one, is going to heal up the troops, and we just need them to distract the anti-air watchtowers so that the dragon can come in to finish it. Time is not really too much of an issue. Alright, we're getting in there now. And we're going to get that stronghold. Alright, so that's just a more basic example, but we're going to look at some more details on that now. Alright, some more battle stones. That's welcome. Alright, now here's... Well, we're going to look for a base with more insanity tower. That's really what folks are interested in being able to defeat here. So here's one next to a freeze tower. And by the way, that's not a combo you want to use. The insanity tower makes the troops fight each other, and the freeze tower makes the troops stop fighting. So you're much better off with, say, a purple and a green, but the ice and insanity is not a good one for the mix. Alright, but we can come in from either side, really. It's a little bit lower level stronghold. We'll get some extra mana, so we have enough to demonstrate what we're doing here. And the key thing that I was looking to show today is the details of how the first spell work and the timing of it. And also, folks have been wondering whether there was any change in the power-up of the spell tower. In other words, that blue bar below the health bar on each of the towers, before, when the spell was under the Scorching Heat effect, it would still recharge, and so it would be ready to fire the second that it got out from the timer. We'll take a closer look now, and look at how the build-up bar is affected when the spell is under the Scorching Heat. Alright, so we're coming in from the other side just to make sure that we take the stronghold, and then we can do our experimentation on the bottom here. Alright, the troops are getting close, so we'll lock down the Insanity Tower and the Freeze Tower. Now, they haven't shot yet, and so their own timer bar, that blue bar, is already at full. Now watch when I hover over with the spell, because it's on timer and I can't cast it, you don't see the yellow base at the bottom of it. The second that it comes off the timer, you'll see the yellow base appear. That means you can cast the spell. We're in slow-mo here. I'm going to release the spell, release my finger as soon as it lets go, as soon as it's castable, and let's see if it gets a shot off. That's the key question here. Alright, the blue one's firing, so no problem there, but the question is, alright, so it turned yellow, and I released my finger on the spell, and that Insanity Tower did not get a shot off, and you can tell by the blue bar there, it's still at full. So basically, by watching carefully on the spell towers, and by looking to see right when the timer goes off, you're able to keep any spell tower you want completely locked down, unable to fire. This is golden. This is such good news when fighting the Insanity Towers, because they are such a bear to face. The freeze towers as well. You know, if you get even one freeze for a large section of your troops, that can be very very dangerous on the battlefield. And so the change in this update, where the Scorched Heat of Jal can completely lock down the spell tower and not get it fire, is really excellent. Now, some people would prefer that it reset the timer, that you could cast it at any point and get a fresh 15 seconds, but they were looking, I guess, not to make it too easy to keep it locked down. You still have to watch very carefully. You have to watch at what your troops are doing, things like that. Alright, so there are two other attacks that I made earlier that I'll show you in replay mode. These were a couple of the early ones that I made with Jal, just to see what the spell was like. I haven't used Jal too much in the past because of the issues with his spells, but these are the two that got me really excited about the possibilities for using Jal now in the arena, and wanting me to spend more Fire Promise on him. Okay, so we've got another combination of Insanity and Freeze on a Primus Conduit, and we're going to come in from, I think the top left there, right at the Insanity Tower. This is not something I would do normally without Jal, and I'm going to lock down those two towers immediately. Alright, so here was the very first time I was testing out, and again, what we're going to watch for is when you hover your finger over the spell, when it becomes yellow, you can recast it. So there, as soon as the base of the building became yellow, it was targetable, and I could cast it. All right. So, and then at the bottom, of course, if you cast the Scorching Heat on a spell tower, and if you then use the third spell within 15 seconds while it's still under that effect, it will get completely destroyed. All right. So that was the one that got me excited about his ability to knock out Insanity Towers. All right. Now we've got two really dangerous ones over on the right-hand side that we're going to test on further. The ones up front here, we have that freeze towers under construction, and we've got the Scorching Heat on the second one, and before we can even think about recasting, it's already dead. So really, we'll be doing our testing on the right-hand side this time. And this is something you definitely want to experiment with yourself, but you'll definitely see what I mean when you see that base is active. Alright, so before they get any shot off, I've got them the Scorching Heat on them. You can see they are going down their health in time, so it is definitely damaging the spells here. And now I'm hovering and waiting for the Insanity Tower to become active. It's active, I recast it. I waited a second to do it on the Flame Tower, and it got its shot off. So basically you have a very short window if the spell tower is ready to attack between when it wakes up from the spell being cast and when it can fire again. So that is something you have to be ready for, act on quickly. If you aren't ready for the spell and just hope you can move your finger there in time, you're probably not going to make it. Alright, so in this case here, we have the spell towers right on the outside, very much up close. So this is a pretty dangerous situation without Jal. If you just drop your troops, the Insanity Tower would immediately get them attacking each other. And so we're going to kind of jump right into that fray. We'll start out on the west side there, and we have to watch out for the Freeze Tower and the Insanity Tower first off. I think my Jal is level 30 at this point, so he's got 5 starting mana. I'm going to pop him up to 31 as soon as I get a chance. And then on the daily campaign with Kara Sunstaff, if I can get a +3 bonus, that's going to be really sweet. Alright, so we're getting some mana here, and I'm a little slow on hitting that freeze tower, unfortunately. And now mentally I'm kind of counting to 15 here. Before they get in range of the Insanity Tower, I'm going to lock it down. And if I get to 15, I will drop that spell immediately and destroy it. If I don't, I will lock it down again, as I just did, and then lock down the purple tower. Alright, so that red one got a shot off with the spell being cast out. Now look here, see the blue bar on the flame tower during the lockdown? It is not moving. That is a really handy feature. So basically, even after the 15 seconds runoff on that flame tower, it's still going to take time for it to build up the energy to shoot again. So in that case, you've got plenty of time to reapply, to recast the Scorching Heat. So that's another change in this update that is really extremely handy. Alright, Siku's Horizon just started, and for the next video I want you to come and check that out. We're going to see how the spell changes affect Forvel and all the other cold agents, so that one's really very interesting. Some cool results in that one. Alright, now I know that one other question everyone is asking is, well, what about Selonia? She has a timer on her spell. If I can't recast that, she's pretty much nerfed to death. That's going to be useless. And so one of the key things to understand is that Selonia's spells have two effects. They have a spell timer on her damage reduction of 35%, but the health redistribution is instant. And since you could want that without the timed aspect of the spell, you are able to recast and spam that first spell of Selonia just as you were before. So there's no change in her at all by this spell update. So that is good news for fans of Selonia. Alright, we're going to come in from the northeast side here, away far enough from the Insanity Tower that we hope the troops can get in and crush that stronghold before they're really affected by it, or at least knock out the anti-air and so that the dragon can snipe it. Alright, so you can see here, we're able to recast the that first spell, no problem, and we get the redistribution of health. However, you do not get a fresh 9 or 10 seconds with the damage reduction. That's the kind of purple color that you see. That's the damage reduction under timer. And so I can recast a spell if there's already purple on them, but I don't get a fresh 8 or 9 seconds from that. That would wear out the 9 seconds after the first time you cast it on any given troop. Alright, so you can definitely continue to use Selonia as you were. It's the spells that only have a timer effect that are changed by this update. Alright, so as I thought, the troops are getting in trouble by the freeze and or insanity, but the dragon is able to knock out the stronghold. Alright, so that's good. Selonia is still very, very useful in the arena. We see that Jal is also very powerful as well. So that's good news. And again, I'm only Stronghold 12 at this point, fighting in the arena, so the ability to take on tough bases with people who have Zilla is very good. Okay, so let me just summarize then how the spell casting has changed post-update. First, it's key to understand no harm was done. There's been no nerfing whatsoever. All this does is prevent people from wasting mana. If you were casting and spamming the spell before, you were totally wasting the mana and getting no effect, trust me. The reason is that it never did reset the timer, and it does not now. So any spells that affect the troops that only have a timer component, you can't recast them. It won't let you unless you have another fresh troop in the mix. Spells with a dual effect, like for transfusion, they can be recast, but even then it does not reset the timer part of the spell. And note that Jal's First now stops the charging timer on towers. And on spells with enemy buildings is the same thing. So check back later for my episode with the Cold Ancients. I think you'll like that one too. And let me know how things are working for you, update, and how you like Jal. Thanks for watching.